I'm streaming to you.
So, I want to ask you real quick. Just how early of an adopter were you?
Now recording.
Welcome to the Yanggang Roundtable. It is 2:11 p.m. Saturday, October 17th, 2020. I just kind of cut in at a weird time when Mia was in the middle of asking our guest a question. So, hello.
Hey.
Thought I had time to get in there under the table, but didn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself and our guest Mia, and then ask the question again.
Okay, I am Mia Dunford. I'm at Mia Songbird on Twitter. I do humanity hangs Tuesdays and Fridays. I do phone banking. I have 2 kids. One's on the spectrum, blah, blah, blah. Most of you know this about me. And our guest today is Mooted. He is a former volunteer for the Yang campaign. He also is a stand-up comedian and an overall great guy that I have had the pleasure of getting to know at the humanity hangs. So hi, Mooted. And
Hello.
reiterating my question, exactly when did you join the Yang Gang with that beautiful, priceless hat you have there?
Right. So I joined the Yang Gang June of 2019. And I think so that was when I sort of made my first donation. Andrew Yang himself came to Georgetown in DC. And I guess, that made me eligible to purchase this hat, I believe, this this early investor donor hat, and that was when I first joined, and it was such a fantastic time. I was one of the Maryland YGROs, and it was a very, very fulfilling experience. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Those are the 2 fays up in the top left. Well, for me, they're up in the top left. I don't know where they are for you guys. I always forget that that's, oriented by individual. But Faye and Faye
on
over
the
there.
top left for the Twitch stream. I don't know about YouTube.
Yeah. Well, right now I have Mooted front and center in the. I said it correctly, right?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, front and center. I have Mooted on the stream right now.
Okay, once you sing the song, it's impossible to forget. I love to mood it. I like to mood it.
Oh, right. I remember that one. Dun, 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 dun. Copyright violation. Anyway.
Now no one will forget. Actually, it's a clever way to make people remember your name and pronounce it right.
Mine
Definitely.
is so easy. It's Hey Faye.
How's everybody doing these days? How's everyone feeling? Has anything happened to anyone that anyone would like to talk about? This is such a consequential, strange year. I just want to record everything, Does anyone have any stories? Mooted, how are you feeling? How's your week been? What are you up to? What do you think about the news cycle?
Yeah, my week has been pretty productive, and I think that 2020 has been a very turbulent era for all of us. And for me specifically, I'm a stand-up comedian, and so when the lockdown started back in March, all of stand-up comedy just shut down for several months, and to an extent it's still not fully back to life yet. And so if I were to kind of characterize from then till now, it's been we really had to pivot and kind of create our online presence as artists and creators. But other than that, I don't know, this past week was productive, but I think the biggest challenge with 2020 and me is committing to a daily structure and routine, despite how chaotic everything is with the with the news and this pandemic. So that's sort of my story. It's the weather's cooling down here in Maryland as it does, since we're in fall, which I'm not a fan of. I like warmer weather just in general. So there's that. But other than that, been trying to be as productive as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Framework productive. What does it mean these days? We're all kind of looking at our values and wondering what is accomplishment. What is, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there's kind of a moment where society is reassessing.
I hope so. It would be really nice to have the results of all this.
You mentioned.
Yeah, I know that like the homework and the like SAT scores for me, like they have like zero to do with productivity, because it's like you just do it and it's done. I think like learning how to make like good relationships with decent human beings is the most productive thing in the world, because it's like if you make relationships with like shitty human beings who are just using you to like get something, or the moment that like you're done with a project, like they abandon you and they take all the credit, and there's just so much like corruption in our world that productivity is finding a way to like fight the corruption, not get caught in the web, and just finding genuine happiness. That's my definition of productivity.
So, you talking about being a comedian. Have you heard of Voice from Mindful Skeptics or thetrickle-up.com? Have you heard of him?
I'm familiar with those two platforms, but I can write down the person's name.
The reason I bring it up is so he's creating somewhat of a news channel, but like eventually he wants to like help raise money and stuff. And like during a meeting, we were talking about having in-game platforms with comedians like while we raise money. So like maybe if that's something you're interested in, we could like get you hooked up into something fun like that. We also have like a 12-hour streaming game-a-thon tomorrow if you like video games and stuff. You're welcome to join us.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds cool.
We're trying to raise money for Blair
Walsingham.
That's the one.
Right.
But yeah.
So, Mudit, you said that you were YGRO for Maryland. What
Yes,
is YGRO? It's a Yanggang regional organizer, is that right?
Yes.
Were you actually paid by the campaign to do that work, or were you a total volunteer?
I was a total volunteer. Yeah.
Like almost everybody else, right? So you're totally on the grassroots side of things.
Yeah.
Are you still organizing right now? Are you still active as Yanggang?
I would say certainly not as active during the actual 2020 campaign. Now it's just sort of maybe more so like staying connected. I think in the recent months, like with the pandemic and earlier, like the lockdown, like the full-on lockdown, attending the Humanity Hangs and getting involved with Humanity Forward's like events, online remote events. That was like I think that really was the bulk of my involvement in recent months. Other than that, it's just kind of keeping in touch as best as I can. I think it's worth noting that like as a stand-up comedian, a comedian's like hours, like for lack of a better word, or like our stage time is like after regular business hours, which is 9 to 5, and then the bulk of volunteering, for a campaign or whatever it may be, is also outside the 9 to 5, unless you're a paid employee. So that's been really tricky to kind of attempt to even balance and get more involved. So yeah.
Well, phone banking actually, I think, is better during the day. I'm not sure if that's true. But you avoid calling people like after they are doing something like when they're trying to enjoy their family time. So.
Right.
But anyway, so is your group? Would you say that you're still active, or would you say that you're kind of on hiatus until further notice? Or.
Well, I think I don't know, It's like in between. Like, you know, our sort of Maryland Yang Gang Facebook group chat is pretty active. It's like a Maryland / DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia. And I don't know, we just kind of keep in touch, talk about headlines and what's going on.
Watching the debates together.
I listened to the last couple debates on the driving between gigs and shows. So yeah, I you know, kind of trying my best to keep engaged and yeah.
New material from those?
I think
the other activity that we've been doing in Texas, for example, is we participated in that basic income march when they were trying to do an event through the income movement. Have you been in touch with the income movement?
Well, yeah. So I'm like subscribed to all the email listservs, and I remember when I wasn't able to like march very recently, but I think when everything was remote, and I think Matt from the Matt Show, he like tweeted or shared a link for a testimonial, like a video testimonial. So like I would submit stuff like that. You know, advocating for basic income. So yeah.
That's awesome, because I feel like it's great to continue having Yang Gang like social groups like this. Just like you're saying, sometimes you just talk about politics or whatever because you know you have a similar interest. And I just feel like there's so much more that we need to get together and continue doing, you know? Like, this isn't the end, even though Yang has dropped out. Anna, do you feel that way? So Faye and I, for example, have on our have kind of matching writing on our cars right now. I still have on the back of my car "Cash for People."
Mine's like life, liberty, and the pursuit of universal basic income.
Awesome.
Because actually, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness was actually found to be more appealing to the older population. So I wanted to like put that there and then kind of like.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool how that's framed. Yeah, I like it.
I still wonder, did you get any material from the debates at all? Like for your stand-up or anything? Was there anything that stuck out to you as a good joke or anything like that?
So I think that I am relatively new to comedy, like stand-up itself, and I'm a year in. Politics has been something I've been struggling with like I can come up with like very quick one-liner, frankly not too substantive, like kind of hacky jokes that are maybe good to kind of warm up with, like alluding to you know, Trump testing positive for coronavirus, so that's like redefining what it means to be positive. And then I have this very quick one-liner on like you know, there's a fly that landed on Mike Pence's head, so he's redefined looking fly, if you will. But beyond that,
I was about to ask what would make that hacky, but like I feel like I do understand that.
Because it ends, you know. I think to me, hacky means like it ends like, what's that?
I was like, I just said, well, I was about to ask why you would call that hacky, but then after you explained and gave an example, I immediately realized. But then I said, you know, I am laughing though, so it can't be that bad.
Right, yeah. So it's like, what's tricky is, on average, when I'm like reading the room of whatever restaurant, bar, or venue I'm in, I typically kind of gauge that the audience isn't there to really get into the you know, the webbing of like policy or the, you know, the more substantive aspects of the debate, and therefore it makes it that much harder to like really make jokes about it. Particularly when these when these open mics, for example, are like they're only up to 5 minutes, so it's like it almost incentivizes making things very short, quick, and a bit hacky, if you will. So I'm, you know, I'm still trying to find that way of getting deeper into, you know, some of these debates and discussions and proposals and philosophies, and then also like making it funny. So that's and I think politics in particular is that's like really hard to do, at least for me.
It's a lot to juggle, huh?
Yeah.
Especially with the time limit, for sure, because people's attention spans are so short these days, and everybody's kind of looking for their instant gratification. So I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would be like more compatible, like if I tried maybe like a poetry or spoken word, where there's no like obligation for like laughs per minute or something, then
I tried doing that. There's actually a place. Well, yeah. Well, in LA, there's a place called the Poetry Lounge, but they also have their time limits. Some of them are even 3-minute time limits. But yeah, but you don't have to get the laughs all out. You know. Yeah.
Right.
So since you don't do a lot of jokes in the politics realm, what do you tend to put in your late night comedy or whatever?
Yeah, so the bulk of my content pertains to my upbringing, I would say. And I think that goes hand in hand with me kind of being new. So it's like, I wouldn't say being reborn, but like the majority of my well-polished bits really pertain to my upbringing as like an Indian American raised in a Hindu household, parents being relatively devout to the extent where like they're vegetarian and they've made me vegetarian as well, as a significant number of Hindus are. So my comedy pertains to that, and in the past couple months it's like evolved more to maybe like I don't know, my experiences in high school, college, and beyond, and so it's like it's kind of following that timeline, and I kind of anticipate that some time from now that once my preferred comedy catches up with like the timeline of my upbringing, like it'll come to like today, and then hopefully at that point I'll be more comfortable with like diving deeper into like political jokes and bits and commentary.
So you say what you're saying is your comedy is evolving, and you're just being patient with the process, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's very organic. It's a good way to kind of grow into yourself, so that way you're not putting too much pressure on anything.
Right. Yeah.
So, because if you were to move into the politics area, you would have a ready audience with the Yang Gang for sure. You could be emceeing a lot of wonderful events right now.
If you have any material you've been afraid to try out, but you would like to, do it now. No pressure.
What do you find comical?
If you want to try the political jokes, go right now.
I think like specifically Democrats really enjoy laughing, right? We enjoy laughing at the problems that we see rather than being so serious, because the minute we get serious, then it's like we just need to cry about it. You know, it's like you pick one, do you want to laugh or do you want to cry, you know?
Right.
So what do you find like comical about, you know, what's happening right now in 2020?
Yeah, I think so right now in 2020, what's comical? So I mean, I think the starting point is like maybe not what sticks out to me as funny, because but what's irking us, what's making us go, you know, like just making us irritable. And that kind of goes hand in hand with like comedy coming from a source of pain, frustration, and frankly, 2020 is just this giant world of that. I think some areas of irony are like the United States is maybe like mismanagement of the pandemic as a whole, and I think that the attitude towards masks have really changed. Sort of like just seeing someone wearing one in public. And by the way, hopefully y'all weren't expecting like punchlines to come out, because I'm like going through the very much preliminary kind of process. But yeah, I mean, I think the source of comical areas in 2020 is really from this like exhaustion and like cynicism and like, what are we doing? We're better than this. But we've even lost energy from like that perspective. So it's just kind of that's sort of what I'm perceiving these days. And yeah.
Corey,
think
nobody's
Andrew
expecting
Yang-
your type 5 political jokes. It's okay. You don't have to. You're not on trial or anything like that. You're
I
good.
was gonna say that Andrew Yang has a pretty good sense of humor because his tweets are. I think that's why people really enjoy them. Sometimes he's pretty funny. He just finds the funny things that's happening while he's parenting.
Because
He puts his children on blast.
Yeah, the solutions are so like obvious and so in front of our face, but that you can't help to
Right.
laugh at like how we're not doing it and how we're
Exactly.
so scared of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments during the campaign was when he was invited to caption the Atlantic Monthly. Was it Atlantic Monthly or New Yorker cartoons? I think it was maybe New Yorker. Do you remember when Andrew Yang had to caption the cartoons?
I
remember
don't
that?
think he did a very good job.
Really?
On some of them.
I thought he was really good.
I don't know. That's different humor types, right? Like some people find that stuff perfectly amazing, and I disagree. But that's okay.
So I'm glad you.
Well, at night.
Yeah. I've got to maybe check out those cartoons. I might have seen the headline that he was invited to do that, but I'd have to look at the actual cartoons. I think so. I think
in just a minute.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think Andrew Yang himself and sort of his connection to humor. I think he's a very positive and lighthearted person. But I also think that his I think that if I were to emulate his style of humor, it would still need a level of structure, perhaps, with highly conventional setup and punchline type of thing. I think Andrew Yang, he's just sort of himself, like a funny person just in a gathering that's also influential. But I think a comedian, it comes to a certain point, I've been doing this deep dive, aggressively hitting as many mics and stages as possible for a year. There's a level of depth and structure that I think is somewhat expected that I would have to really dial up. That goes beyond maybe just kind of thinking out loud and that type of thing. So yeah.
I don't think Andrew Yang definitely would not strike me as a comedian to that extent. He's funny, and I found it funny when he was when they asked him who his favorite crush was, but he's kind of like a response funny in a lot of ways. He is reacting to something in a way that is charming and funny more than trying to be funny or crafting it in any sense.
Exactly. Yeah, from the get-go. Yes. Yeah,
Would anyone like to watch the 5-minute video of him cartooning for?
We can maybe watch a few seconds of it.
Just a few seconds?
Well, one or two of his comics.
I think they're awesome, so I don't know. Maybe we could try it. Let me see if I can share. Whoops. Hold on. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Let's see, will it work? Okay. Can you guys see it or not? I don't know. Might have to hit the live stream if you want to see it very clearly. It's not happening for you?
Out to the divided mode, there's one in the top right corner that says watch screen. So if you go to the point where you're not just highlighting mute it, you might be able to see it then.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to put it at the front. Here we go. Can you hear a sound?
Hello, I'm Andrew Yang. I'm running for president in 2020, and today I'm doing some captions for some New Yorker cartoons. Okay, so you've got a political candidate, and then the spouse saying something
It's not playing.
to him.
Is it?
They both seem kind of shell-shocked.
So you guys can hear it and see it? I was thinking we could pause it before he gives you his answer, and we could try to get a cartoon it.
Okay.
I can't.
It seems
I
like
can't,
a marriage that's going
hear
through
nor
a little
see
bit of strain. She seems very concerned. He seems very concerned.
Mood it. There should be a
Oh,
little
so
box that says watch
Muda
stream.
can't see it though, huh?
Click watch stream, like one of the camera boxes. Watch stream. You click that, you should be able to see the stream. It's a little counterintuitive. I always forget it. I was just reminded of it myself.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Hey.
It took a second to load,
Now?
I think. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so he's looking at a cartoon where there's a politician in bed with his wife. And he has to come up with the caption that goes underneath it.
So he seems sort of shell-shocked by something. What is it? Let's see.
Okay, so do you guys want to try cartooning with him? Or should we just answer? Let's just give an example first, because we didn't get to see the whole thing. So this is what happens
All
at
right,
the end.
here's my caption. Harold, the podium only makes you look more powerful on TV.
Okay, so there's the final product.
Okay, so here we have one very angry looking angel running for office, and then the other angels are concerned, and then this angel is saying something. So that is what the caption must be. What's the question? President of Heaven? All right, I got it.
Okay.
President.
You guys think? Do you feel comfortable trying your hand at this captioning
I
thing?
don't think I can beat the boss. He's too funny.
We can't beat the boss?
Andrew Yang is too good a comedy writer.
Okay, so I'm going to continue. Nobody wants to try their hand at it, right?
No.
Okay, here we go.
I wish that there was some kind of competitive element to this. Like every
See?
time you successfully caption a cartoon, you get paid $1,000.
Right?
I would like to make that true for all of us, but instead of captioning a cartoon, it's living for another month. So for this caption, I came up with,
That sounds good.
no one has the heart to tell him that there are no presidents in heaven. You see where I went there?
See, there's no way I could have beaten that. That's so good.
Isn't that awesome? I
That's
love
so
it.
Good. That's so good. Yeah.
Okay. Should we continue or?
I mean, we're gonna get a.
All right, I think I
copyright
already have a
strike,
line in
aren't
mind.
we?
So,
Do you guys want to try to caption this one or?
Sure. I don't think I have anything funny
There's a car
say
on the couch.
right now.
I don't know. I've noticed on that last one that there was very few angels there where he was trying to speak. I guess they're social distancing, huh?
That coronavirus joke. All right. So here's another one.
it looks to me like there's a therapist and there's a car on the therapy couch, and the therapist is giving her opinion.
Look, it says Google on the back of that one. Uh-oh, here comes the boss.
So the caption I came up for this was, did they realize that naming you a smart car would put so much pressure on you?
Wow. That is so Asian American. throwing out.
That's so good. I couldn't have thought of anything that good. I mean, I didn't, at least. Not this time. That is so good.
But don't you love his little smirks and stuff when he?
Yeah, I do. You'd think he could
Because you see the car seems sad.
I would have done something with automation, I think.
That can.
Oh, man. That's so
You guys want
funny.
to try to beat it?
This should be a game show.
Right? We should do one of these games. We could do
We
a
could.
New Yorker caption.
Yeah.
It actually
All right. It looks like one speaker is.
I'm sorry, I missed what you were saying, Mia.
I said you'd actually need people who responded though if you're gonna make it a game. We're all just like, let's let the boss do it. It's good. He's better.
What is the ball?
I feel like for this
Is
one,
juggling
they just spent all their
chainsaws.
budget
It's
on
a presidential debate.
That what? They spent all their budget?
on like entertainment or something. I don't know. It's just like it all to me seems like song and dance at these things, and it's just like, how entertaining can I be? I need.
I mean, this one with the
For sure.
what do you call that? The power tools seems dangerous.
Yeah.
Chains.
Let's say.
What's more dangerous, these
All right.
chainsaws or
My
the
caption
coronavirus?
for this one
Not wearing
is,
a mask.
let's pass universal health care in the next 10 seconds.
Oh, UBI
See?
joke!
Huh?
Universal health. That's a political joke right there.
Okay, so it looks to me like you have someone in a business suit doing window washing, and then someone in the window washing outfit doing the business person's
was
work. A
pretty
little bit like a Trading Places situation, like a Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy thing. I feel like he's talking to like a friend, like about his experience. So the question is how to express this idea. What is he saying? I'm ready to give it a shot. Sure. Are there standards of humor in the New Yorker? Is it allowed to be lascivious or dirty or vulgar?
I would have
What
to
a
know
question.
the example, I guess, to see if it...
Well, I guess we'll find out together. So the question in my mind is, how did this situation arise?
Yes.
And so what I came up with was, that will teach this guy not to do drugs with the blinds open. With the thought being that the window washer saw him doing drugs.
Oh, so he's
Oh, yeah,
blackmailing
this is up
him
my alley,
to
at
do
least.
his job for him?
What's he saying?
Whoa.
He's got a mechanical horse, and he's talking. This horse is clearly not happy with the robot horse. Well, what joke would you tell? I mean, this is up my alley, because I'm all about the fact that technology is going to take our jobs. This is the caption I came up with. It says, I find the robot horse makes me feel more secure about my manhood. That's a thinker.
It's just look at him doing this. He does this little head
I really
tilt.
enjoyed it. You get your creative juices flowing. So this is a blast. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I've always loved comics. It's a lost art form. So thank you, New Yorker, for preserving such an important cultural
Whoops.
So a thing to remember with all those jump cuts.
language.
All right, here we go.
A thing to remember with all those jump cuts is he had more time probably than we saw there to come up with those too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably.
Cheating.
Probably.
But I like how he does his little, well, is anybody getting my joke? What did it do my head? So, isn't there a Jackbox game that is similar to this, though? We play a lot of Jackbox
Yeah, like every
games.
Jackbox game is similar to this.
It's
Right.
pretty much like this.
Yeah, they're all like this. But there are some that are very much like this. Like oh, I can't think of it. But sometimes you do just have like a
There's
straight up caption the thing like
The
round.
t-shirt game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
T Fury is very much like that. What's nice
Right.
is that the people draw the images. The players draw
The
them, but
t-shirt
yeah.
game was pretty fun, and it's similar to this, where the caption makes it fun.
Yeah.
Right.
So we would like to invite you to come back for our Jackbox games at various times. Usually we do it like either on Saturday or Sunday nights, but Sunday, tomorrow, is going to be our really major event. So
The one I mentioned earlier.
Right.
except we don't know how long at what moment you're going to actually be playing Jackbox, because you want to play all these other games too. Have you
Should
heard
I
of
post a schedule? I'll post a schedule. Make a schedule so people know.
Because
I'll
we won't
post it
know
tonight.
when to show up if we like a particular
I
kind
think
of
we'll
game.
probably do Jackbox towards the end. Like in the evening.
Yeah, it's more of a party. You want to get
it's
more
like a
people.
party time when everyone we'll be tired of concentrating by then. So
But like captioning is hard. I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
it's brain
yeah.
intensive still. Mudit, have you been play? Have you do you like to play games of any kind?
I lately I haven't been playing too many games. I remember like during the holidays, like Thanksgiving and towards New Year's, I because like I only started comedy in summer of 2019. I had this like new perspective and like level of intention in playing like the Jackbox games. Like I remember like and these would be like very exceptional or like these would be nights where I wouldn't be like hitting the stage. It's like when people socialize at night and they're kind of like unwinding, like that's precisely when I'm like out and about hitting the stage. And it's unfortunately often when I'm like not available to join in festivities, with the broader exception of like these holidays of like Thanksgiving and New Year's. And so when I would play these Jackbox games, like I would come in with this very almost intense level of like, because like before I did comedy, like I would be known as this like semi-funny guy, where a lot of it was like unintentional, like being unintentionally funny, which speaks to how much difficulty I have, like, I don't know, assimilating sometimes. But now it's like I'm like trying to be intentional with my humor, and those are really good games. I mean, and then also like with the Zoom comedy and online comedy scene kind of having gained traction because of this lockdown. Sometimes like they mix up like the open mics via Zoom or online with like some of the quiplash and like the Jack in the Box games as well. And then as far as
I'm really familiar with them. I came to a completely said, let's play this game. I said, I don't even know what that is. And it's been pretty fun. So when you say that you're brand new to things, right? Are you referring to your age or referring to moving? Or what makes you feel so new in the world? Maybe new to comedy.
Yeah. No, so I think it's I do feel like new to the world or like a late bloomer. I mean, I'm an only child, and I don't have like, I have cousins, but they're not in Maryland. They're not even on the East Coast. They're all in India, and then I have like pseudo cousins that are like not blood related, but kind of have like a sentimental connection in Northern California. And so other than that, like,
I'm in Southern California, and I feel like we're both yanggangs, and we have a lot of the same opinions. Remember when we I shared my YouTube channel and you shared yours, so we kind of knew each other before this. You probably recognize me from this symbol I have, revolutionary thinking, and then I found you, and then I commented on one of your things. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that part.
Yeah, no, I remember your videos. You have this like very powerful speech. I believe it was like a Toastmaster style like speech.
Yeah, it wasn't Toastmasters. It wasn't Toastmasters. You're absolutely right. I did it in Toastmasters, and I told them to record it for me. But then like I remember one of the people in charge of Toastmasters, like they were very like they're like, no, this is like political, and this is not like Toastmasters approved whatever. But she was only saying that because of her own biases. Other people have done political things before, but she thought like I was like talking about communism. And then I'm like, because everybody is so stuck in that paradigm. But then when I got the video, and there was someone named Matt Dizzle, he did something with the video where he uploaded it to his channel, and then it got like thousands of views, mostly positive. And then when I showed one of the other people in Toastmasters that, like one of the other organizers or leaders, they were like, "Wow, congratulations! I'm so happy for you." Yeah, she was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You were explaining your new beginning, your finding yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, I might have forgotten the original prompt, but I think the point is I perpetually often feel like a noob, to the world. For example, I played sports in high school, but I don't have like a favorite sports teams. I feel like sports fandom for me just feels like a chore. That's just an example. And like NFL, NBA, like MLB, like those are very mainstream things. Yeah. So so I think like now I'm like coming to terms with that, like feeling existential noob feelings, like pursuing comedy and like pursuing just being myself with intention. And then one more quick tangent. I think like the traditional political comedian I found in like my comedian circle, like they liked Andrew Yang maybe at the surface, but like they like for me, like my comedy journey and my Yang Gang journey like were intertwined, and like I'm very gung ho about both, and I think that it's like maybe one of the reasons I'm still not maybe like able to develop very substantive political bits is because I feel like a lot of us Yang Gang, like we're not inherently drawn to politics. We're more so drawn to like solving problems and improving the human experience. So
We're also
but politicians should be drawn to that themselves. That's where the problem is.
The Yang Gang is the creatives. We're quite creative. We are the ones who have been essentially taken advantage of with our talents, and we are not necessarily making money because people don't see what we're creating as much value. You know, like, but we're also kind of the what would you put it? We're the non-essential workers, if you will, but it's still essential to us and to the world, but people don't see it that way, right?
They don't see it exactly.
Well, people are mostly blind. I mean, all the intelligent people throughout history were like persecuted against and like called named like Galileo. He said the Earth wasn't the center of the universe. Excommunication, do all this to him. Everybody with like original good ideas was persecuted against until like 100 years after they died. Until people were like, oh, we were all dumb enough not to listen to those people, and now we learn about them. Let's just make sure that Yang isn't one of those people.
I also think that the whole newcomer, the newcomer theme is very appropriate for not only Andrew Yang but Gang. Andrew was a newcomer to every scene he's ever been in. He was new, and then he left before he became old at it. Right? He became an entrepreneur. And then he left and became a nonprofit, and then. I mean, everything that he tried, he was like, I'm kind of new at this, let me find out. And once he found out, he was like, oh man, I'm going to need to try something else. So I can see that Yang Gang is often too. We're all new to politics this year.
But see, his thing is he's intertwining all of his stuff too, right? His previous skills are just building on somewhat of a skill tree, if you will. And it's all like growing. It's all interconnected. You might not even see it, Or maybe he does. I don't know.
You're basically saying his past informs his present, right?
Right. We're going to have to water our skill tree garden, like everyone else.
But the thing is, the interesting thing is that he just keeps moving on. A lot of people become something and they just stay that, But he keeps saying, wait a minute, this is not enough. I still don't have what I need to fix the problems that I'm seeing. So he just keeps going. And
I feel the same.
It's weird because people outside the Yang Gang will see him as some sort of a tech bro, and he's never been a tech bro. He's never.
Yeah.
So where does that come from, right? Is it if it's not a newcomer, I think it's a newcomer thing that makes people think he must be
from the news, just trying to conceptualize him in a way that one is familiar archetypally to them and to their audience, and also to make him, not an acceptable choice for the mainstream because they really want to protect neoliberalism.
Like the disgusting thing is like this one-dimensionalism of people. People are complex creatures. They just don't have like one side to them and one thing that they want. But that's how we get our news. Like, Trump is just crazy, or like Biden just wants to raise taxes, and it's like, oh, these people just have one dimension. We have to stop thinking in terms of this one-dimensionalism if we ever want to get anything done.
On the tech bro note, the reason why he was associated with the tech bros was because a lot of them agreed with him and were supporting him, including Elon Musk, who endorsed him. So I think that kind of correlation and association is what got him there, more than any like attempt to pigeonhole him, just a complete misunderstanding of why they were supporting him.
So my son and I just came back from the pumpkin patch, and we've been volunteering there today. and we'll be there again on Tuesday. And it's the Grace United Methodist Church out here in Palestine, Texas. But they're doing it at a lot of different Grace Methodist churches. So if you guys are looking for an activity and for the kids, it's really fun to do that right now. They have all kinds of events happening. One of which is today is what do you call it? What they're doing today is a costume swap, which I thought, well, how are they going to do this? And but they're going to continue doing it. So they have a lot of costumes though. So these little Halloween costumes you might find on a shelf like that. They have a rack full of these different costumes, and you can go and pick one up and drop one off. That you're not using it from maybe last year. Maybe it doesn't fit your kid anymore. You can switch it out and give it to someone else. So there's a lot of really good community events happening for Halloween, and then it's gonna be Thanksgiving and Christmas. These are it's sort of like the harvest season brings out all the gatherings, get together, eat, have fun, celebrate in the middle of winter, together and have that closeness, bonding. And I feel like if we're Yang Gang and we want to change in the world, we have to continue going out to participate in all kinds of community activities and not just, stay in our own cliques and stuff. While we're at these different community gatherings, they have a chance to see what's written on the back of our car. They get a chance to start talking to you about your politics a little bit in a sort of non-aggressive, very, very easy, friendly sort of way. And we may be changing the world, together, even without being, as it were.
Well, it's not just that, but if you go out to these things and then you tell a friend about what you've done that maybe country, which is the Yang Gang, right? You might have just inspired them to do their own version of that. Maybe you found an event planner that's been looking for their muse and you just gave them this idea, right? But maybe even two ideas can give birth to a new thing entirely, right? Because we're wanting to stream to earn money campaign that but it's video games and it's bonding and friend time, right? So that's kind of merging politics with just hanging out, and
with being human.
Yeah.
Right? And not being a robot, It's so much of our society is so robotic and transactional. It's let's bring the humanity back.
Well, do you have any Hindu events? Are you participating in your community with your parents being religious and all?
Right. So I think a couple things come to mind. The first thing is I wish what was it, the 4-day work week as opposed to 5-day work week was a thing, because that just speaks to the very finite amount of time. And then the other thing, I just wanted to emphasize, I'm in between full-time jobs, in between full-time day jobs, if you will. And again, comedy, it's very frustrating and somewhat sad that comedy literally coincides with the time frame of all of these community engagement events. It's outside conventional business hours, and that's precisely when I'm out and about on the road hitting stages. And I can try to have these conversations with fellow comedians, but really it's about booking our next gigs. That is our job, despite society not economically recognizing that, at least not adequately. That is, I do get paid on certain occasions, but certainly not to the effect of a full-time salary 9-to-5 position. And then with Hindu cultural events, I pitch. These days, I don't know that there's remote stuff going on, but I try to send out emails to community leaders in the South Asian community and Hindu communities. But frankly, with the finite amount of time in place, it's in the framework of, may I perform? May I have stage time? If I go simply to attend, that is a serious professional opportunity cost to my being what is effectively a full-time stand-up comedian. And so that's very existentially kind of frustrating, to kind of find time for those things. And the only exception is, go ahead. Yeah.
That's why like the freedom dividend is so important, because it could free up so much of your time to just have that kind of money and kind of be it, because you can't be at two places at once, and then you just don't have the time. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You can have the mind linked there, because when Ariel said that, that was exactly my comment, was a universal. How would a universal basic change that for you?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
If we had a universal basic income, how would that change, this dynamic of having to book so much time that is actually, like going to help your career, versus, would you spend less of your time on the career and maybe do more of the things that you think are fun?
Definitely, and the first thing would be, in a literal sense, like mobility, an ability to travel, and that might not have the best sounding like optics with the COVID pandemic, but pre-pandemic, it's like traveling and doing shows and mics and gigs, and more places, because you can see, like, as opposed to being stuck in a certain region, where you're pressured to come up with like newer bits and jokes before they're adequately polished and finessed, because like the same audience folks might hear it again. So the actual ability to travel, and then this just opens up that very good kind of rabbit hole of what UBI can liberate people to do.
100%. We were just talking about mobility on yesterday's show. Like, cars are expensive. Cars need maintenance and gas and monthly payments if you're, doing that. And then it's like if you don't have the mobility to like for people to hear your speech, then what good is freedom of speech when nobody's listening?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The other thing, though, I think is going to happen is there's going to be another art revolution once we have UBI, because it'll free up people who are artistic to actually buy supplies they've been wanting, and they won't have to worry. But once they start doing that, they can actually start generating income, because they have time to not just make the art, but they have the time to invest in advertising and or money. Maybe they can pay somebody to actually like help them with the process of getting their work out there. And I think, once UBI also happens, cities will be able to rebuild a little bit, right? And so all these people who have, maybe a desire to rebuild their city, like the ones that I've seen that have like been shifting from, selling all the stuff, they've been doing a lot of wall murals, right? Think of like, what is it? Asheville, North Carolina has lots of like, a lot of major cities are doing it too.
You've been to Asheville?
Yeah.
I heard that I was looking up restaurants in Asheville because a tracker friend was going through, and wow, did they have some good food there? Did you get to eat good?
Yeah, I had to, like, there's this really amazing chicken place that I went to. It wasn't necessarily in Asheville.
Doing a little advertisement for Asheville, North Carolina. If you want something good to eat, go there.
Right.
Anyway, what you were saying about that, about having supplies and the ability to do more of what you love in terms of art and creation, I think it would also help patrons. I mean, right now only really wealthy can become patrons of somebody who does artistic things. And for example, if I love pirate art, I still can't afford to actually pay for any of it, or to have more of it produced in the world and enjoy it for myself. So if somebody wanted to go and see a comedy show and actually support a comedian, they're going to have more money in their pockets out here. Poor people are going to have the chance to actually become patrons and enjoy some of that art. Mm-hmm.
Back, I don't know how many years, Japan actually had this kind of like that they would die for their art kind of thing, but they were like it didn't make sense to anybody else. I think it was Japan. And because they kind of had this like awakening of sorts, that art is very important to our lives. It's just like book burnings are a form of art that are being destroyed, right? And so for them, they're like, this is important to our history, this is important to our culture, and we cannot interfere with that.
Mhm.
I forget. I think I watched like this like a history of the world like fast forwarded and like dumbed down. And it was like this like quick different like colonies were like growing and shrinking and fighting with this person, and then they're just like, and then Japan does this thing over here. Anyway,
I've
so
seen
that's
that.
right.
The entire history
okay.
of the world.
Yeah,
that thing.
the little cartoon. Here is like the thing is yeah. I saw, but also like a UBI is just like the fundamentals of just being an informed citizenry. Because if you're like shackled to your job and it's eating up like every minute of your time, where do you have the time to find out about who's running? What are they running on? Why are they running? If someone comes up to you and says like, "Hey, sir, I need to tell you about this and that's going on in your community." Oh, I don't have time. I gotta run. I gotta run here. I gotta run there. It's like, well, that's just another form of like dumbing people down. It reminds me of like, in university when these people had causes in these booths and stuff, or someone was walking and then people were like, I gotta get to class. I gotta get here. I gotta get there. So this kind of like busyness that's being like this hustle culture, it's like destroying our informed, citizenry. It's destroying our civic engagement, and that's not good.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with that. The day-to-day struggles with like you said, rushing to class, and like that, that day-to-day short-term acute, like as Andrew Yang says, like the boot on your throats, like that very much gets in the way, and stifles the variability to think bigger picture and longer term and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think a lot of people like criticize the suffering of the artist too. There's really no reason to justify that people have to suffer to be able to create good art. We see people who are successful create good art all the time. It just is about being inspired. It's not about whether you have been crushed. Although pain is good for comedy, I do understand that. But there's other kind of pain. There's enough pain in the world without trying to force people to live through poverty too.
Right. Yeah.
It's all an excuse used by the powerful to just like justify their bullshit. I mean, throughout history, that's all that we've had. We justify your suffering and your pain because it's just the way things are, the right things to do. No, we can change laws and we can change culture, and we've done so for centuries. We're not buying into this crap.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then also,
I wanted to show off my gi, which is my karate gi. It was from doing karate in the park with my children when my oldest was little. He's like 20 now. Okay, but this is fun for me because I feel like this is kind of a Halloween costume now. Since I'm not really a karate expert in any way, but I can wear the. I'm wondering what kind of Halloween costume you might come in for Halloween this year. Have you thought about your Halloween experience?
Me or
yeah, anyone wants to answer. Do you have you guys all thought about what you're going to do for Halloween? Are you an event for you?
Like
I feel like Halloween
myself as like Mike Pence. He's pretty
Oh.
scary.
Mike Pence, you're going to do something with the fly?
No, I'm joking. just like the fly on his head,
That's
like,
going to be a thing, though.
There's going to be a lot of Mike Pence's flies, I think.
Ugh.
This Halloween.
The little accessory he had. That was hilarious.
So anyway, Halloween is. Do you think it's going to be canceled because of coronavirus? Nobody wants to get together anymore.
Well, like
It's canceled at my house.
It's canceled at your house.
Yeah, I'm not. No, we're not going to have the risk of Tristan getting coronavirus. Like, if he were symptomatic, it would be terrible for him to be in the hospital. Just awful. He would freak the hell out. Oh my gosh, it would be terrible.
what's
There's
more
no
scary
risk
than
of taking care.
Halloween? Corona on Halloween.
Oh.
You die.
Wow.
Nothing is scarier to me, to be honest.
Yeah.
It seems imprudent to do Halloween really in any capacity. I don't know what one would do, or like other than like a Zoom call.
You can't even
right?
trick or treat. Huh? Wow.
I don't think so. I mean,
I
are
mean,
you
the
going
world
to?
is kind of already scary. I don't know if the way things are.
But
So-
if people trick or treat, that's going to be like the worst spread event yet by far.
By trick or treating?
I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
that's going door to
It'll
door.
be the
Like,
worst COVID spread
so
event in
sad.
American history to date if people do that. So I really would be against it, I think.
Is trick or treat worse than trunk or treat?
What is that? Trunk or
They have-
treat?
It's like when you just go to like nowadays
Just order
all the
candy off the
kiddies.
internet and eat it, and watch watch some slasher movies and eat your candy and tell your
Even
kids
get
about the
rid of
before
candy
time.
they like
Tell
instead
your
of
kids
getting
about
the
the before time.
candy they want to get rid of. Your kids can actually have the candy they enjoy,
What we
as
should-
opposed to
yeah.
the random crud that other people don't want.
I move that in 2020. If you're a parent and you want to give your child some kind of Halloween experience, you sort of take a Mad Max style post-apocalyptic approach where you just like you put on a little guerrilla play for your kids, where you just tell them about the before time and what Halloween used to be, and then you like throw some old candy corn at them and make them watch Freddy Krueger and go to bed.
Brilliant.
I think we have to reinvent what Halloween means to us this year.
I think I just
You
did.
know? Yeah, you're right. You just changed it. Back in the day, we could eat in restaurants together.
Right. Back in the
Those
day,
were the
10-year-olds
days.
could wander the neighborhood unattended. That was the way it was.
And you would knock on strangers' doors, and they would answer and try to scare you sometimes. But usually they give you delicious little treats that make your stomach hurt later because
Everyone
you
would-
can't watch what you're eating.
Everyone
Why
would
can't
warn
we
you about the
socially
drugs and the
distance
candy,
trick or
but you would
treat?
never be that lucky.
So the only holiday that actually involves the use of masks, we're not going to do it during coronavirus time. What is wrong with us?
Everything. Everything possible.
Everything. Oh man.
I don't know. It just seems inappropriate to send children out to do that.
Better
Considering
send
I
the
need
this
a
is
mask
wrong.
on my mask.
What if
please?
adults go to represent their children? You can just go, hello, I'm trick-or-treating on behalf of my... You take out a photo, you like show your phone. This is my child. My child is deprived of growing up in this time, but I want to trick-or-treat for him or her.
I've only
The
trick-or-treated
Trump
once in my
route
life.
is send our senior citizens for the sake of Halloween. It'll be just like doing it for the economy.
The senior citizens I heard there was a protest, and there might be more than one, where the senior citizens were saying that they wanted to see grandkids more than they cared about coronavirus. And I was like, well, I could kind of see that. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like my grandparents are seeing way too many.
So are you concerned about them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, my grandma's been
Says
seeing.
Faye the Nomad. Has been seeing people everywhere.
My grandpa is very involved in community service, right? And all this other stuff. And he is just a busybody, right? He believes that if he that's where he's at. Like if I doing things, I will die. It's more important that I continue this because then, maybe I'll die doing what I like, and like he makes a really impressive impact in his community, right? But that means he talks to everybody. And you think I talk a lot? Oh, okay. My grandpa has he's losing his memory a little bit, and so he'll tell his stories. But oh man,
He doesn't have to remember who knows and who doesn't know his stories. And because he's past that age of needing to care. He can just tell it again.
Yep. A lot of hunting stories. He loves hunting and like, but he also like raises cows on his property and like butchers it and donates the meat to his church and family, so that he like feeds people too by doing these beautiful things.
Well, during this voting time, the interesting thing is all these elderly people are the ones that are stationing the voting booths. And they're the ones who are going to have hundreds of people lined up to come through these little rooms, usually in some church or some or school or something like that, where the everything's old and the air is not fresh, and it's really this year I really was thinking about trying to be a poll watcher. I'm not even sure why they need poll watchers, because you've got like a Democrat and a Republican usually both manning the stations anyway, and they have somebody called the it's like a judge, election judges, and they sit around and do something similar to what poll watchers do. But I was going to go get this training, but I really have been deterred from it because my friend who is going to be a poll worker that day, and he's like a precinct chair. He informed me that in Texas, during his training, they told him anybody can come in with or without a mask, and you can't stop them. That not wearing a mask is not something you can use to ask somebody to not come in to vote. So,
I mean, yeah.
Even the other workers, he could be working with somebody who refuses to wear a mask, and he can't ask that person to just leave or put on a mask. So I just find that amazing.
I mean, they're like, we are not going to discriminate for voting, but also, yep, you're at risk. Higher risk now.
But it does discriminate against people who don't want to be in that environment. I mean, if you don't want to stand in line for 2 hours with somebody who is not wearing a mask, you're too bad.
Or 7 hours or 9 hours. Voting locations are ridiculously they take so long, and people can't afford to spend their whole day waiting in a line. Not these days. I mean,
that's nothing you ever have to do in a very wealthy community. You only have to do that in the really poor areas or the rural areas where you had to drive really far to get to your poll station in the first place. So,
we should have no work on voting day or something.
Right.
We do have early voting in Texas, so you have more time. So early voting has already started. All of last week, I think, starting from Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Me and Faye are taking care of our thing on Monday. We've been procrastinating.
I'm going to vote.
I've got my absentee ballot. I'm technically registered in California, but I don't know. It's probably where I spent the most time this year.
But normally, all month I would have do poll watching or sign up to work as a poll worker or something like that. And this year it's been well, maybe not. It has to be someone really dedicated and someone who is really putting his country above his life, I think, at this point. So
but it's interesting. We go to grocery stores and stuff, and we're surrounded by a bunch of people, and they've touched the things we're going to touch. So part of me thinks we should be a little more mindful about that occurring. But I mean, I've seen people spray their stuff down with aerosol or the sprays when they're done.
Something you touch is not as bad as long as you don't go and then touch your nose or your mouth. If you wash your hands, that helps.
Right.
But being in the poll, in the room, right? The problem is when you're indoors with people who are all breathing into the same space, into the same air. That's, I think, difficult. And that we're standing in line next to someone for an hour at a time. I don't know.
Man, imagine 6 feet apart in a line that's freaking huge.
Yeah, they couldn't socially distance some of these lines, I think. What were you saying?
Yeah. We have moved it for about 10 more minutes here, so I was wondering if there's anything you would like to specifically plug or talk about in your future, in your comedy career, in any sort of social media you want to be contacted through, that kind of thing, before we lose you.
Yeah, sure. So I guess before plugging my socials, I I kind of want to say that, yeah, like I'm always thinking about how I can manage or balance my, comedy as well as like civic engagement and political engagement. I found it to be very tricky because I can only volunteer so much. So if I did have to kind of transition out of this perpetual, like full-time comedy only kind of phase, I would hope that the career that I would have to pursue would be in the scope of like civic or political engagement. So if anyone has recommendations for positions that are like down the road that I can look at, but I don't know that I have additional resources to volunteer more than I already am. So I just want to kind of put that out there. As for my socials and what I'm working on social media wise and like content wise, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/muditverma. Mudit spelled M-U-D-I-T. Verma is spelled V-E-R-M-A. And that is where I have highlights, compilations of my stand-up, as well as original sketches. One of the sketches is a sketch on canvassing for the Yang campaign. It's a canvassing oriented sketch, and I also have a podcast. I don't know if podcast is the right word because it's still like on my YouTube channel but I call it a podcast, and I've named it the Furthermore podcast, Mudit Verma Furthermore podcast. It's still tied to the same YouTube channel where I interview all kinds of folks, comedians, artists, musicians, professionals, anyone that has anything to talk about. It's like super open-ended. It just kind of happened. And other than that, my socials for TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter is I like to Mudit. We're using the numeral 2. I like to Mudit, as we know the song. And yeah, those are my plugs. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that? Oh man, what's it called? It's like it's got the word tree in it, but essentially you could put all your social media platforms all in this like program that has a link tree. A link tree. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Do you have one of those? If you don't, you need one by the sounds of it.
Right. I do. I do have one. I found that I found it more convenient to actually put YouTube has like when you go to like my YouTube homepage and perhaps other folks' YouTube homepages, like on the banner, it has little icon buttons where you can like refer to the socials. And because I prioritize YouTube, like I kind of use YouTube as like the link tree, if you will, just because I guess that's a priority. But maybe if there isn't like a single social media priority, then yeah, I would like replace the YouTube as my go-to link with the link tree. So, but yeah, I've got that on my radar. Yeah.
Do you travel like nationally for your comedy?
So I did, or I was on that path or trajectory. I like took a small trip to Philly. I crashed at a friend's place in Philadelphia. Like literally just before the lockdown, like stuff got real and everything shut down. The next step would have been to trek to New York City. I did take not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, a very impromptu, spontaneous trip to New York City for to help a friend like move and kind of transition between jobs and things. And I was able to squeeze in an open mic in Central Park, an outdoor. New York City is not doing any indoor shows, at least they're not supposed to be, or they're not doing that I'm aware of. It's all like outdoor in Central Park or on rooftops. So I was able to squeeze in an open mic in New York City. I would like to travel, but not there yet. But I do have online performances here and there that I post on my social media, which can be accessed anywhere. And yeah.
Very good. Are we going to continue when Mudit takes off? Do you guys want to continue chatting, or do you want to all sign off together?
Why don't
I'm
we all
open to both.
sign off together? Because
Okay.
I've got to get caught up with the editing and prepare for the thing we're doing tomorrow. So
Yeah, tomorrow's marathon sounds it's like it's going to be truly exhausting.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not thinking of it that way, but probably. Now that you mention it.
That's probably what Andrew Yang thought when he started his 10-hour Q&A on what was it on
Isn't that kind of the only attitude you can have and survive those
Laura.
kind of things, right? I don't know.
Just stretch your legs every 20 minutes.
Oh wow.
I wish we were closer so we could like run you food and like, you know, drinks and
That's
bring you
fine.
boba
I think
tea.
I don't think we'll all be on like this camera all the time. I'm sure we'll all take little breaks here and there.
Most likely. So do you want us to give our handles now then? Is that what we're doing? Or
Let's
Yeah.
do that. I'm Faye Koo at so on Twitter you would find me at Palestine Math. On Facebook you can find me as myself, Faye. Last name is spelled Ku. And
all right. Faye Doney. And you can find my Twitter at Tisdoney, TISDONEY. I'm gonna try and start doing Twitch streams of my own. I did one last night. It was my first one. I decided to just be all authentic and go live stream and talk about my life in details and talk about all these random stories. So, you know, if you want to know if you like me or not, that's a great way to find out.
Fantastic.
So yeah. Ariel?
are you here with
Ariel,
us,
have we
Ariel?
lost you? He's here in spirit.
Maybe Mia should go.
Perhaps
All right,
should
Mia.
go.
Mia, go.
Mia and I are going to stream some Sims 4. I'm sorry I haven't get my mind in the right space, and we should schedule that.
Sims
Like
4.
I said,
Sounds good.
whenever you feel up for it, I will be happy to do that. We're gonna do I'm gonna give my Sims UBIs, so that's all they get to survive on, and we'll see what they can start generating cash on their own and such like that. And
That'd
clearly,
be
it
good.
won't be like a one-for-one comparison to the real world.
You guys hear me?
It'll be fun.
I think we
I
can
like
do
your
this.
server rules better than the server rules that the United States plays by the way. UBI sounds good.
Hello? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can. What
Okay,
happened?
that was weird. I don't know. I was doing it through my phone. It usually works. It didn't. Okay, so you can find me on at Ariels on Twitter, and I'm Revolutionary Thinking on YouTube. About to get that out there, and then I'll put the credit in the live stream.
Mia, did you give your handle?
No, I did not. My name is Mia Dunford. I am at Mia Songbird on Twitter and Mia Songbird on Frey.world. I do Humanity Hangs Tuesdays and Fridays. Please come and say hi to us. This coming Monday, there's going to be a lot of Humanity Forward higher-up staff, I hear, hanging out with us. So that would be a great time to come and maybe get an extra hang-in, meet up with some people, find your place if you're feeling like volunteering. You know, it's a really good event, and I will be there for that. So join us.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
okay.
good
Can you put the
thing about
date and the time
volunteering-
in the live stream chat or somewhere? So
Let me hunt.
So one great thing about volunteering, which is to do it when you have so little time for your job and time. But of course, one good thing about volunteering is strong sort of networking event. So if you're filmmaking together with a bunch of other time, you get a chance to, you know, get your name and out to different group of people than you would normally do. So for anybody who's feeling really too busy to do any of those things, think of it as a networking event. You know, it's a chance for you to socialize with some new people. So, okay, Shale, you want to take us out?
Yeah, I was just thinking Jeff Simmons should know about that. He should go to that Humanity Hang. Someone should tell him. The founder of the Australian Opportunities Party we had recently. Anyway, let me just here. I'm gonna give myself a big screen here. I'm gonna put myself primarily on the stream tomorrow, October 18th, Sunday, 10 to 10 a.m. to p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/yanggang roundtable. I will be joined by Sheridan and Diston to play a bunch of different games, probably Payday 2, which we're all pretty good at, and Jackbox, which we all like to do at night when we're tired, and in the middle. Diston might play some old NES games. He's like the 7th best Castlevania 3 player in the world, for real. So he might do that. He'll probably do a speedrun of Castlevania 3. You didn't know that? You knew that.
No,
Never
I did
came up
not know
before?
that.
Yeah, he's like the 7th best
carefully.
Castlevania 3 player in the world. Look it up.
Wow.
It's real.
I feel like we
So,
have all these hidden talents
We
I
do,
don't know
and
about.
that's why we all need $1,000 a month, so we can $2,000, $3,000, so we can all just use our hidden talents instead of engaging in the market. Yeah.
I did.
Anyway, please join us because we are trying to raise some money to benefit Blair Walsingham, who is a basic income candidate endorsed by Humanity Forward and Andrew Yang, who is running on a platform of giving basic income to every American in endless perpetuity to end poverty forever. So think of it as an investment in your future and everyone else's future. I'm probably going to play some live music. Maybe I'll take some donations to do some cover songs or something. Or, wait, I can't really do any cover. I can probably do it on Twitch. And I'll try it anyway. I'll do it anyway. If they give copyright strikes, then that's fine. We'll figure it out. We're going to play Minecraft.
She's like an Etruscan caryatid, one of those ladies that hold up the world on the columns in official buildings such as the federal courthouse.
Talking about Blair Walsingham still?
That's what I always think of her.
Yeah.
Judith, thank you so much for joining us. We had a really good discussion. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. It was really good to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Likewise. Yeah.
Come back to the roundtable again when you have time.
Definitely. Absolutely. We'll do.
Appreciate you to spend this important time with us.
Very well.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm turning off the stream. Here we go.
All right.